Prometheus fans, rejoice! Aliens fans, keep waiting. Alien Covenant is the sequel to Ridley Scott's Prometheus. It takes place before the 1979 original Alien, and it follows the story of a group of colonists who are on this ship called the Covenant. They're going to this new planet to start a colony, to rebuild humanity. On the way, they take a U-turn, go to some derelict planet because of a little distress signal, and just like every other Alien movie where it starts off this way, you done fucked up. So let me start off by talking about my thoughts on Prometheus, because that is probably the main determining factor on whether or not you're going to like Alien Covenant, is whether or not you like Prometheus. Now, there was a lot of issues that I had with Prometheus as far as it feeling like two movies that were combating with each other. It felt like Ridley Scott wanted to do something totally different, a standalone sci-fi movie, but he either got pressured or changed his mind last minute to do Alien movies. So if the Alien stuff feels shoehorned in, great characters, great acting, great visuals, stories all over the place, and just at the end of the day, it's a beautiful mess of a movie. Did all of those problems get fixed in Alien Covenant? Let's start off with the positives of Alien Covenant. Once again, Ridley Scott's direction, the cinematography, the set design, the camera work, everything, special effects is gorgeous. The dude is just a master at framing shots, at creating sets, at giving you visuals that you will remember, that will stick with you all the way through to the end of this movie and the hours leading up after it. And the guy is just, once again, delivering that. It goes from Prometheus to this, very different worlds, very different tones, different color palettes, but just as gorgeous as it was in Prometheus. Another big positive for me in Prometheus that's carried over into Alien Covenant is the score. Now, this one is much more of a mix between the Prometheus score and the original Alien score, and it's really cool how they mix it in certain scenes, because you'll be, in the first half hour of the movie, you'll hear a few things that's kind of like right out of Alien, and it puts you right into that mood, right into that setting, and it's a really cool nostalgic feeling that you get. And then you also get the really great score that they had in Prometheus that creeps in here and there. It really blends well. It doesn't feel like combating tones whenever the music changes from one to the other. They mesh that really well. Once again, the cast is great. Now, the characters in this one aren't quite as interesting. I'll get a little bit more into that later, but the acting is just as good in this one as it was in Prometheus. You've got guys like Billy Crudup, who's a really underrated actor. I'm glad to see him doing something like this. You get Danny McBride, who we all know and love from comedies, and he gets to show a little bit more of a serious side in this, and he does really well. I'm not going to praise him quite as high as everybody else. I think he was good. I don't think he was this huge standout role, but he was definitely good. I'd like to see him do more things of that nature. Michael Fassbender, probably the standout of this movie, is great once again. He's playing a different android than he was in the first movie, so you get to see a little bit of a different tone in his kind of android performance, which is really interesting to see. And the other side characters, we don't get to know too many of them very well, but they do perform well with what they're given. The tone of this movie is much darker, much grittier than Prometheus, and I like that a lot better. It feels a lot more in line with Alien and Aliens than it does with Prometheus, and I appreciate that, especially when the horror and the sci-fi really starts getting kicked in, and you get gore everywhere, and there's terror, and there's tension. That's the movie that I came to see. Unfortunately, and now I'll start transitioning into some of my negatives of the film, the movie that I came to see didn't get started until like the last 20 minutes of Alien Covenant. Now, I already hear people yelling in the comments section, well, this is a Prometheus sequel, this isn't an Alien prequel. If you want to watch an Alien movie, go watch Alien, go watch Aliens. Well, guess what? Every single trailer, every single poster, every single piece of promotional art of this movie shows an Alien movie. It doesn't show a Prometheus movie. So that is mismarketing, and that is not the movie that I came to see. I came to see an Alien prequel. I didn't come to see Prometheus. And unfortunately, about 70% of this movie is Prometheus. And that's just a huge disappointment for me because, again, just like in Prometheus, it feels like the Alien side of this was a little bit less shoehorned in this one, but it feels completely rushed. It feels like they want to focus on Prometheus, but they throw in Alien just to get a few box office dollars and to get the fans in who didn't appreciate Prometheus. And ultimately, that marketing bait and switch really pissed me off while I was watching this, because I didn't necessarily want them to abandon everything about Prometheus. I definitely wanted them to at least wrap it up, or to, close off the tail end questions that we were left with at the end of Prometheus, which some of them they don't even do by the end of this movie. but they start you off. The first half hour or so is this really slow building character introduction of the ship and their mission, which is a little bit too reminiscent of the first Alien in my opinion, so it drags a little bit too much. And then out of nowhere, bam, it starts, the sci-fi horror is going, you feel like you're in Alien, this is the movie I came to see, and then about 15 minutes after that, we're back on Prometheus again for another half an hour. And then we're back into Alien for 5 minutes, and then we're back into Prometheus for another 15 minutes. And it just feels like this combating tone, once again, where you have Prometheus and you have Alien, and the entire runtime of the movie, they're constantly battling it out, and they never find a way to totally mesh those two stories together to make it feel coherent. It just feels so jarring. You're in one movie, you get jerked into another one, you get jerked into another one, and the tone, the pace is all over the place because you're heightened whenever you're in the alien state, and you're excited and you're tense, and then all of a sudden you have to watch a half an hour monologue about androids talking about creation and life and death and all this over philosophical, over scientific dialogue where you're just like, this is such a fucking drag. Go back to the alien ship, please. And to make matters worse, for me personally, whenever they do deliver on the alien side of things, they really fuck up some of the continuity, some of the rules of their own franchise in the way that they present these aliens. The entire timeline that this franchise is set in stone, from the gestation period of the facehugger implanting an embryo all the way up to the adult xenomorph, is completely washed away in order to rush the alien side of the movie in this. The entire process from the time the facehugger latches onto a character's face to the time we see the fully grown adult xenomorph takes about 3.5 to 5 minutes in this movie, and it's so jarring and so aggravating for a diehard fan of this franchise. But not only that, it makes everything feel so rushed, like they're just trying to snap really quick and get past the alien stuff so they can get down to more philosophical story, and it just does not fly with me as an Alien fan. That is not the rules that this franchise has set forward, and you're not going to wash that away and make me believe it. It's just going to stand out, and it's going to make me ask questions when I'm supposed to be entertained in the movie. And the chestburster that we get to see is not a chestburster. It's like a mini xenomorph that looks like it's right out of that scene in Spaceballs. It looks so bad when the CGI comes into that. And the CGI is another negative. This is a series that is known, with the exception of Alien 3, for being really, really good with their practical effects. Not overdoing it with CGI, making everything look real, look pliable, and in this movie, it's all CGI. The xenomorphs, the facehuggers, the chestbursters, the neomorphs, all of the monsters in this are completely CGI, and that really bothered me. Why are you not using practical effects on a movie that is based and known for practical effects? This is the same problem I had with the Thing prequel. If you're known for practical effects, that is a huge, important piece of your lore. Do not fuck with that. And the last thing that really bothered me about the xenomorph side of this movie, and then I'll move on to other things, is that they don't really feel like that big of a threat when they are introduced in this movie. There's a couple of good little kills and gory spots, but for the most part, the characters that are left at the end to battle the xenomorphs never seem like they're really up against anything that menacing or that difficult to defeat.
Okay, Walter, where is it?
It's on B deck, starboard side, descending into sea level.
Whenever they do defeat them, they defeat them in ways that we've already seen in the franchise numerous times. And at the end of the day, it's just, there was nothing new done with the xenomorphs. It's like they were thrown in, again, just for box office dollars, so they can throw it on the trailer and get Alien fans' asses in the theater seats. And to me, it was just like, why do you have them in here if you're not going to do something new or inventive with them? This is 2017. You've got Ridley Scott back. You've got all this technology. Do something new. Do something inventive with the xenomorphs. Don't just throw them in there. Now, like I said in my positives, the acting is great in this movie, just like it was in Prometheus. However, the characters themselves are not nearly as interesting in this movie as they were in Prometheus. There's not really anybody that I really latched onto like I did in the first movie, like Charlize Theron's character, Idris Elba's character, and even Michael Fassbender's character to a degree. It's a little bit of a diminishing return now that we've seen him play an android twice, even though he does do some cool things with it. But mostly the crew of the Covenant, there's not really anybody that interests me or that really jumps off the screen. They're very stock characters for the most part. Billy Crudup is interesting to a degree. He's a man of faith that they all keep kind of hammering into your head that he's a man of faith, but they don't really explore it that much into the story. They just tell you he's a man of faith. And then you get Danny McBride character, who's kind of like the wild one. His name is Tennessee, a nice little nod to Alien Dallas. But again, that's just it's Danny McBride. And then you have some other characters that just feel like watered-down versions of crew members that we've seen in other movies. There wasn't really anybody that just leapt off the screen and that's the character I want to see in a sequel. And beyond that, this is a crew of people who are taking colonists, they're taking themselves, they're taking this ship, they're taking embryos to a brand new planet to rebuild civilization. These are going to be the godfathers of the new reign of humans. And they are the dumbest motherfuckers that I've ever seen in this entire franchise. Red flag number one, when you have years of training, years of planning, this set in stone, billions of dollars, thousands of people relying on you getting to this one planet that has already been surveyed, they already have a terraforming expert on board who is an expert on this planet, they've done research, they've done planning, training about this one single planet, and then you make a complete beeline and go to another planet in the drop of a hat just because it looks interesting.
We don't know what the fuck's out there.
You bring your entire crew down to the surface of this uncharted planet where you know absolutely nothing about it. You don't know anything about any toxins, any airborne chemicals, any hazards that's going to be there, any monsters, nothing. You know nothing. You bring everybody down, no spacesuits, no protection. You just say, fuck it, let's go check this place out. Red flag number two, which is also something that they did in Prometheus. You're supposed to be life-trained scientists who are smarter than most of humanity. And then you get onto this derelict planet and you're touching everything in sight, squeezing on things, breathing everything in like a fucking 3-year-old kid who's curious. Again, really? And then another character comes in who I'm not going to spoil, who you have absolutely no reason to trust them, and the entire existence of that character on this derelict planet should make you ask nothing but questions, but everybody just goes along with it, doesn't ask any questions. Yeah, this guy seems legit. And beyond all the idiotic decisions that they make continuously over and over and over again through the runtime of this movie, the one other issue that I have with their characters and why I also didn't identify with too many of them is that the entire setup is that they're all a ship of couples. You got Danny McBride and his wife, Billy Crudup and his wife. Everybody's got their spouse, their significant other, the love of their life on this ship.
This crew is made up of couples. It's the first ever large-scale colonization mission.
And throughout the runtime, just about every single one of them loses their significant other. And they seem sad for about 5 minutes. They cry or no, oh my god, no. And then the next scene, they're fine. Ultimately, I just don't understand Ridley Scott's plan or direction, if he even has a plan, for these prequel movies. I just feel like he's kind of flying by the seat of his pants, making things up as he goes along to a degree. I mean, you take Prometheus, which is a mixed film at best. People love it, people hate it, people are in the middle. And he fully acknowledged that before the making of this one. Okay, fine, and not everybody loved the Prometheus thing. I'm going to go back to doing Alien. But then yet again, you make us, for the majority of the runtime, dwell in this Prometheus side of the storyline. And even worse, whenever it finally does get to the one side of the story that we've been waiting for with these prequels, whenever it gets to the side of the story that tells you where the Xenomorphs come from, how they were created, where that little puzzle piece is missing between the engineers creating humans and the Xenomorphs being found at the beginning of the 1979 original Alien, when it finally gets to that side of the storyline, they skate past it in about 3 minutes. They don't explain it at all. They don't give any kind of explanation into how the hell that even works. They just show it to you, move on, expect you to accept it. I don't accept it. I want to see at least 20 minutes in that. You made me spend an entire movie and the first 30 minutes of this movie in this over-philosophical, overly scientific exploration of life and death and creation. But when you get to the actual origin of the Xenomorphs, you want me to just see it for 3 minutes, accept it, and move on? No, I don't accept that. Granted, the current rumor right now is that the next Ridley Scott Prometheus Alien movie is going to take place in between Prometheus and Alien Covenant as somewhat of a sequel to the prequel, so maybe we'll see that one little piece of the storyline explored, but that is a fucking terrible idea. Do not do that. Do not make us go back and spend an entire movie without Xenomorphs just to explain that little bit that you should have explained in this movie. I guess above anything else, I just want Ridley Scott to decide what he's doing. Are we doing Prometheus movies? Or are we doing Alien movies? Because we're 2 movies in, and doing them both in the same film is not working for me. It's not working for a lot of people. Some people really enjoy it, fully acknowledge that, but it's mixed at best. Everybody is on different pages as far as these first 2 movies, and he needs to decide, are we doing Alien or are we doing Prometheus? And the thing that really baffles me about all this is that it seems like in Prometheus and even in here in Alien Covenant that all of the origin, all of the creation, all of the prequel storyline leading up to Alien and the creation of the Xenomorph is just so overly complicated and so overly convoluted that it takes away from my enjoyment of it. It seems like it should be so simple and so engaging, but it goes in a million different directions that even after seeing Prometheus and seeing Alien Covenant, I still really don't understand the full picture. Hopefully he'll explain that more in a third or a fourth movie. We'll see. But it just seems like it should be so simple, and he's going in all these wild different directions that just don't need to be there. And if those constantly shifting tones isn't aggravating enough for you when you're watching this, the biggest aggravation for me is that this just didn't really have that many surprises for me. It didn't go in any new directions. It didn't really go in any new uncharted territory with the way that they explore the aliens and the xenomorphs. Like I said, the first half hour feels like a retread of the first half hour of Alien, and to a degree the first half hour of Prometheus, so it drags a little bit because we've been there before. Some of the way that they handle the storyline feels like it was done better in previous movies, and the way that they decide to end this to try to make it stand out is on this huge shock, this huge plot twist, this huge oh my god moment. And I don't think they could have telegraphed that twist anymore if they tried. About half an hour before the end of the movie, me and my dad turned to each other and we said, bet this is going to happen. And that's exactly how it played out. So to wrap all this up, guys, Alien Covenant I do feel like is a better movie than Prometheus. If I have both of them sitting next to each other on the shelf, I'm definitely going to pull this one first to watch this before I will Prometheus. But while I think it's a better movie and a more enjoyable movie than Prometheus, it frustrates me about 100 times more than Prometheus did, because while Prometheus I understood was a standalone thing, probably wasn't going to have anything that was directly tied to Alien just yet, Alien Covenant, I expected the exact opposite. The marketing, the posters, the trailers, everything told me I was coming to see sci-fi, horror, bloody greatness. I'm back in Alien, and I'm not back in Alien. I'm still in Prometheus with tales of Alien spread through here and there. The characters weren't really all that interesting like they were in Prometheus, although they were acted well. Visuals were still great, except for the xenomorphs. Again, washed away all your practical effects, which is the legacy of this franchise, in favor of CGI, which really bugs me. And at the end of the day, it's just a very frustrating movie because what I came for, I get little pieces of. Some of that was great, but just not enough to really make me enjoy this as much as I want to. So like I said in my introduction, if you really, really like Prometheus, you're probably going to really enjoy Alien Covenant, possibly even more than Prometheus. But if Prometheus frustrated the hell out of you, Alien Covenant has way more of that in store for you. So know who you are when you walk into this movie. But for me personally, I'm going to have to recommend that you wait and check it out on Netflix. So what do you guys think of Alien Covenant? Are you a fan of Prometheus? Are you a fan of what they did in this with having mostly Prometheus and a little bit of Alien? Or like me, did you walk in expecting a very Alien-heavy movie and walked out very underwhelmed? Put all your thoughts on Alien Covenant, this franchise, whether or not you're excited for what Ridley Scott's going to do next, or if you would have rather seen that Neil Blomkamp Alien 5 sequel. Put all of your thoughts on this movie down in the comment section below and we'll talk about it. And also look out because me and Durbin from Durbania are going to be doing a spoiler-heavy talk on this movie here in a day or so to wrap up our Alien franchise reviews, and I'm also going to be ranking the entire Alien franchise, so keep an eye out for those. You can check down below for all my social media links if you want to follow me on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, or on my new Patreon page where I'm going to have lots of exclusive things for patrons only, like commentaries, and you can choose your own movie for me to review, lots of really cool exclusive things. Please check out all of that, like and share this video, and hit that subscribe button. Or if you want to check out some more of my videos, you can check out a few more by clicking right over here.